Yep, I think it's going to be the diggers to coal at the moment. I think that's what's winning out. Although going across to Manchester would be kind of cool. Yeah, let's go to Manchester. Which means to go past Birmingham as well. Did you know? Oh dear. Yeah, Team Fortress 2 didn't go very well last time I played it. And I don't think a lot of people particularly liked the video either. In fact, weirdly, they preferred the silent movie version in comparison to the actual footage from the game. I think one of my viewers asked me, okay, can you play TF2? Yeah, okay, I'll play TF2, which I hadn't played in a very, very, very long time. And it showed. Oh, man, I sucked. I was really, really bad at it, to the point where it was comical in a weird sort of way. It can be. I mean, in my case, I went out and bought, I bought Sony Vegas Suite, which was, it was a pretty penny that, to do the editing. But I don't know, I think it's worth it. I actually quite like doing the YouTube stuff, particularly what I would consider to be main channel content. The live stream edits, ideally, I would like to put up onto Twitch, but I can't because I'm not big enough yet. I need to have something like, what is it? Oh yeah, it's something like stream 2 to 3 times a week and have 500 concurrent viewers. I think the most I've managed was 10 or 12. Hopefully I will. I mean, there are times I do sort of question myself and either say to myself, well, am I doing something wrong, or is there something about my channel that people don't want to watch it? Is there a reason why they don't want to watch my channel? Is there a reason? Is there something in my production values that's in there that means people don't want to watch my channel? Is it something about me? I go through it. There are times when I will be in bed and I just can't switch off, and it will just go round in my head. But then I think about all the time and the investment and the money that's gone into the channel so far, and also when you play back the footage now that I'm getting with the sound equipment that I've got now, and how it sounds is way better, you think, okay, well, that's a really big step and that's a big improvement. And I firmly believe that, yeah, you can have video that doesn't look as brilliant as it could do, but your audio, I believe, has to be top notch. But there again, I would say that. Publicising it. Well, this is the thing. I haven't quite worked out the whole publicising side of it, to be fair. I mean, there's I think there was a chap I was occasionally I have a bit of a Twitter conversation with, and he says, you've got to be a self-publicist, but that's not. I'm not very good at that side of things. That's the only problem. I did my best, I tweet a fair bit. And I've even tried there's a hashtag, what was it, that I think I watched, was it TGN, which is a gaming network, and one of the things they said was, if you make your Twitter, if you tweet something out with hashtag TGN Army, if the tweets are interesting enough, then we'll retweet it, which is exactly what happened to me on Sunday. And that was to do with the steam trains, and that was to do with the whole thing. That was to do with the whole thing to do with steam trains, only to find that I couldn't use the steam trains because I didn't have the tracks. Get someone to do it for you. Are you dropping hints? Yeah, I'm going in the opposite direction. Well, that's a really good plan. Mind you, I did need some fuel, so actually it's worked out in a weird sort of way. So I'll get some fuel, and then I'll work out how on earth I'm going to turn around. Probably no dents. Ethan! Hello, and welcome to the stream. And I'm glad you're finding the stream nice. Stop the engine. Yes, all right. Well, tonight is actually the first night I've streamed in 1080p, and I think so far I haven't dropped a single frame. Wow. It's weird. I've streamed in a higher quality, and all of a sudden it seems to be working, so I can't complain. Hope you're well, Ethan, and I hope you've had a good day. So just to give Ethan a bit of a heads up and tell him what's going on. In fact, am I a big trucking fan? Well, let's put it this way. I've streamed Euro Truck for a good couple of months now, and I tend to find it's not a bad show in many respects because it allows me to chat to my audience more than any other game, and that's one of the things I find about it. But certainly, you know, I do enjoy this game. In fact, if you go to my YouTube channel, it's actually on my top 10 games of 2013. Can't remember what number I placed it, but it was about middling. I think it was about sort of it's about 7 or 6 or something like this. I think it was around there. There was a few games I placed higher. I know that. But let's bring you up to date. We are just outside of Odense. Unfortunately, I've taken a wrong turn because I wasn't concentrating. We're just outside of Odense. So what we're going to do is we're going to use Odense to actually turn around, head back up to Eschberg. We're then taking a very long ferry to Felixstowe, then going round. Yeah, it is relaxing. I totally agree. Oh, so a fellow streamer. That's cool. That's awesome. It is relaxing. It's a good way to interact with your audience. So, yeah, we're taking the ferry to Felixstowe and then going round the M25 to London, round the M25, up the M1, past Birmingham on the M6, and then all the way up to Manchester. So we take the M62 and then into Manchester. But yeah, it is a good one to stream. I found that. The other ones that seem to be quite popular, I need to do some more Tribes Ascend at some point. Because although I didn't get that many viewers on Twitch, I got more viewers on YouTube. Actually, it's one of my more popular videos on YouTube, so that's one of the reasons. The other thing I'll stream is Blood Bowl as well, because I really like to do that. But Hearthstone has now become a main channel series because I find actually it's not an ideal one to stream. Well, at least I don't find it is. Yes, I do live in the UK. I actually live in Birmingham. So, in fact, that's part of the reason why in this game that's where my home depot is. It's Birmingham. Now I'll do some introductions. Ethan, I've also got Miles in stream, who's CEO of British Blue Virtual. Because one of the other things I do stream is Flight Simulator. In fact, I've been flying with a virtual airline for a very long time, actually, and I do that side of things with also live air traffic control and all the rest of it, even pre-flight briefings. So that's how Miles knows me, and that was a game stutter, by the way. That wasn't the stream, just to make it clear. Thanks, Miles. But for most of the night, actually, it's been Miles and I. There's been a few regulars. Luke's popped in, and there's been 1 or 2 people who've popped in and popped out, and then they've said, hello, thanks, bye. Yeah. Oh, well, that's a very nice compliment. It's very nice to have that sort of compliment and say that I'm a good commentator. That's cool. That's pretty nice, actually, particularly considering that I've only been doing this since November. And actually, I have to say that between then and now, I can even hear a difference in the way that I commentate and the way I talk. Oh, thanks very much. I'm touched. All these compliments. That's cool. Right, so I'll turn around here. Incidentally, Ethan, if you go to my YouTube channel, you'll see all my previous streams. Now, the one thing you'll notice is that there is a big difference in audio quality. There's been a big jump in audio quality. The reason is at Christmas, my girlfriend, God bless her, she actually bought me a mixing desk. So that's now sitting on my desk, which means I then invested in a new microphone. Keep the stream as far close to that solid wide line, it will position you better. Okay. I've never really thought about it, to be fair. I think the one thing I find, Ethan, is that when I'm actually driving and when I'm driving and talking to people, what I tend to find is that actually I tend to wonder. I'm concentrating more about what I'm saying and what I'm saying to people than the actual driving, but I do my best. And then you have to consider I'm not using a steering wheel, I'm using a 360 pad. Anyway, as I was saying, yeah, my girlfriend, she bought me a mixing desk. So then I went out and I actually upgraded my microphone. I started with a Behringer C1U, which is about a 30, 40 pound large diaphragm capacitor mic, which plugs straight into the USB port. Not bad it's not bad quality for the money, but I want it better. And this is definitely better. The audio is so much better, to the point where there's a lot of people now who when they hear my stuff, they think, blimey, that sounds like a radio broadcast or something like that. That's exactly the point. That's what I'm aiming for. For somebody who, in their spare time, does things like sound engineering and live sound engineering and is really picky about that sort of stuff, then I'm picky about my audio particularly. And I'm now starting to get picky about video. So it's part of the reason why I've upped the stream now from 720p to 1080p. It does mean that, unfortunately, it's on a higher bit rate, so there's going to be people who can't watch it, which, I don't know. I don't want to discourage people from watching my stream, but there again, I want the quality. Blessing and a curse, as it were. So it means, yeah, I'm sitting there with an X1204 USB mixing desk. So I've got control over all the sound that's coming in, which includes in-game. Also, I've got I use my phone as an MP3 player. So when I do any of my lobby loops and anything like that, then I can use that for end of stream. And then I've got someone called Frugal Sim. No, I can't say I've heard of Frugal Sim, Miles. Has to be said. Do fill me in, though. Oh, dear. I've mocked that up a bit. Don't do that, AI. Come on. I'm just looking in my mirrors. I could see this car approaching, and I'm thinking, oh, no. Don't go into the back of my trailer. Please don't do that. I know I've mucked up the lanes, but even so. Well, I do have a very nice girlfriend. In fact, she's, well, let's see, we've been together 5 years now, which is incredible. I've never had a relationship for this long, and it's still an incredible relationship. I mean, the one thing they say is that with relationships, and it says this in a lot of relationship books and everything like this, is that you go through this magic period of, you know, just can't do without that person and all this sort of stuff. You go through this honeymoon period, and then apparently about 18, according to the science and all this, according to scientists and according to the relationship books, 18 months to 2 years down the line, that wears off, and then the next thing you know, you look at each other very differently, and the relationship changes. Oh well. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you've kind of caught me on the hop there. Anyway. I think that's the intention. He is someone that makes fun, but you don't really like him. Oh, okay. Curious. I might have to have a look at his stuff and see what he does then. Does he crash planes a lot or something? Yeah. But the weird thing is, the thing about our relationship, I don't know if it's a weird thing, but even after that, even now, 5 years on, she's still something remarkable. She really is. You know, I do believe that I do believe there was some divine guidance there when I met her and she met me. I really do. I'm curious to know why Miles doesn't like this guy, because, I mean, I've done a couple of flight sim videos. True, the first one was a bit of a disaster, and actually, playing it back, I need to re-edit it, because there's certain bits of it I don't think need to be in there. But the second one was better. The second one was definitely better. Certainly the one I did from London to Manchester. Right. This Volvo has 750 horsepower, So this could pretty much pull anything. Now, considering I've got a trailer mod, which includes a 61-ton tank and a 73-ton train, that's quite useful. Too cocky. I'll tell you what, Miles. Can you message me with a link to his channel? I'll take a look at his stuff and see what I make of it as well. Because I know when you're watching a video, it's subjective, isn't it? A lot of it. You can make an objective opinion as well about the audio quality and the video quality and how well the editing's been done. But just to give Ethan a bit of a heads up, my YouTube channel is quite a variety of stuff. What you're going to find there is you're going to find all the edits from my live streams that will go up on there. There's also, which will be Euro Truck, there's Flight Sim up there. There's also Hearthstone as well, which I got a closed beta key for. Although apparently Hearthstone has now gone to open beta. So by all means, sign up for the open beta, guys. It's a fantastic game, that. It's really worth playing. It's, before you know it, it's really compelling. It's one of these games that's easy to learn but difficult to master. And no, I haven't been paid by Blizzard, I can assure you. Just want to get that out there. See, the one thing about me, I mean, I don't know if this will surprise you or not. The one characteristic I used to have was, this was a few years ago, was I used to be very arrogant, and I lost that. The game is called Hearthstone: Heroes of Warcraft. It's classed as a collectible card game that's based on the World of Warcraft universe, and it's a free-to-play game, and it's created by Blizzard. And I've gone the wrong way again. Oh dear, I'm not doing well today. We're having a trip around the car park. I think that's is that a Kia Ceed? I think it is. Transit. Okay. Let's go around this truck. There we go. Go in. So I've just got to Eschberg. No, I don't want to sleep because I'm getting on the ferry. That'll sleep me anyway. That'll rest me anyway. I'm guessing Ethan's just following me because I can see I've now got 42 followers. Thanks, Ethan. Yes. Well, I thought I'd give you a tour. I thought I'd give you a guided tour of the car park. I thought you'd like that. Oh, dear. You haven't said where you're from in the UK, Ethan, actually. I know I'm from Birmingham. Miles is from Bristol. Right, so Eschberg to Harwich. Oh, we got somebody else. Outlaw. Okay. Oh, welcome Outlaw 787 to the stream. Well, that's very good of you, Ethan. Well, how couldn't you? Simple. You don't press the follow button. No. Ah, right, okay. So just down the M40 from me, then. Strangely enough, last time I was in Oxford, I actually sold a car to a guy from Oxford. Note to self, back in the UK, drive on the left. Although I must admit, it's quite weird on the... Because I've got this Let It Snow mod and I'm driving in the UK and I can see snow. I know it's not like that in the UK. It's wet. It's wet with parts of the UK flooded. I believe parts are still underwater. Although, according to the news, they're not featuring it that now. They're not featuring anything to do with floods. Maybe they've got bored. You go truck spotting on the M40. Let's see. That's either going to be... Right, if you go truck spotting, does that mean you actually go to a service area? That's either going to be Oxford or Cherwell Valley. Now, you're probably wondering, why on earth do you remember that? Well, at one point in my life, this is after I'd left ships and I'd stopped doing the pro musician bit, I I had to get a job, and I had to get a job. Definitely 1080p. Cool. Thanks, Miles. You're preferring it, are you? That's cool. Well, it's good because everything now is going to be 1080p. In fact, the last 2 bits of content that are going to be 720 will be the Farming Simulator tutorial series, because the first 3 episodes were filmed last year, and so just to give me a bit of a head start on YouTube. So those 2 will be 720, and also on the old audio setup. Oh, you're mainly on the bridges. Okay, fair enough. Now, the main reason I know about those service areas is that after I left ships, because I needed a job quite fairly quickly, one of the jobs I did was car delivery driving. So I was the guy who was standing at the side of the road with the tri-plates. Yeah, that's what I did. Although I was fortunate that I was full-time, I was actually employed by the company. So I got paid by the hour, but then I also got my expenses back for public transport. So I didn't have to hitch a lift that many times unless there was no public transport between one car and the next. But it did mean I ended up with really good geographical knowledge when it comes to the UK, and I went to parts of the UK I'd never been to before. So that was one advantage of it. The other thing was, it felt a bit like I was a Top Gear presenter, except I wasn't getting paid Top Gear presenters money. But it was good fun. I really enjoyed it. I got to drive drive all sorts of different cars, and that was cool. And there were certainly some cars of note, as well as some cars that I'd rather forget. And I also did some agency driving as well, so I drove 7.5 tonners because I've got grandfather rights on my licence. Yes, there we go, showing my age again. And I did literally deliver beds to Bournemouth and all that kind of stuff. I even remember the first time I drove a 7.5 ton truck. I turned up to, it was a plumber's merchants in Aston, which is just north of the centre of Birmingham. And I was sent there, and the next thing you know, they present me the keys to a 7.5 ton flatbed. And it was huge. This thing was absolutely huge. In comparison to me, I was just driving like transit vans and things like that, just transits and sprinters. And I'm thinking, how the heck am I going to drive this? So I rang the agency. I said, look, I've never driven a vehicle this size. And the agents went, okay, fair enough. We'll see what we can do. Yeah, traffic does get ridiculous on the A34, totally agree. But, do you go plane spotting? Well, weirdly, no, I don't go plane spotting. Although, having said that, what is it? If you go, I mean, I don't live too far from Birmingham Airport, has to be said. Probably from me, it'd take me 20-30 minutes to drive to Birmingham Airport. And there's a village called Hampton in Arden, and there's a pub there called the Boat Inn. And it's not too far from the flight path into and out of Birmingham Airport. So, but the thing is because I've actually done controlling it on VATSIM. I'll look at a plane and I'll go, right, that's probably on this departure or that departure, and they're running this runway. And I remember being with somebody, and it was talk about face palm. It was like, oh, I can't believe it. How geeky can you be? Anyway, where was I? Oh yes, back to the story. So, eventually, what they did was the agency actually rang this company and said, "You've got to drive this truck." And I think, oh my word, I was nervous as anything. Cool. Yeah. Well, I'll do some controlling at Heathrow in the virtual world, anyway. Yep, I had to drive this truck, and it was all the way up the M1, all the way up to Yorkshire. And I do remember, though, the traffic stopped in front of me, and I hit the brakes with all my might, and I couldn't stop in time. And there was a tractor unit in front of me, and I do remember it, that I just nudged this tractor unit, but unfortunately I broke the Jubilee clip on the air bottle. So the only thing I could do is I had a bungee cord. And I gave it to the guy who was delivering this truck, and I also reported the accident. I never worked for that company again, but I'd still end up driving 7.5 tonners. I worked for a furniture company after that, and actually I did several deliveries for them. And it was good. I started to get into 7.5, so I really enjoyed it. But I've never driven anything bigger than that.